Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is so dead. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear not hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat, and not press the poor. Make up what I seen to. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan. Make a man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite part, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out and sell out Babylon. They give man show one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead and can sell out Rasta and sell out, I sell out Babylon. Just stop on the Friday. You might show us stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing, man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what's a black? Big him and throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. Sorry for the lateness. Thank you all for joining us this evening. There is a news article in the Gleaner that we forget to deal with this morning, and that is what we want to look at this evening. Parliament on the probe. That's the article we want to look at this evening. Amongst the other things, that drill that they bought for 31 million, the zigzag continues about that. This time it's Dr. Dawes and Donovan Williams in a back and forth about that. To my community of Pride and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening. Welcome, one and all. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It was a lovely day in London today. It's quite nice weather. Beat and teach, good evening, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if the AI wants to read for us tonight. There's also an article in the Gleaner, but that we will probably have to look at further in geopolitics, where member countries of the World Health Organization has accepted the new pandemic preparedness regulation, which comes with a whole lots of controlling us in it. So that is something that we need to take note of. Who else is here? Good evening. Sharon Bernard, good evening and welcome. Good evening, Sunshine. Good evening, Debbie Jarvis, TV, Gloria Morris. Good evening. Good evening and welcome, Jamrack 8766. Good evening. Who else is here? Canadian Gal, good evening. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson. Paulette Lewis, good evening and welcome. Ladybug, good evening. Joan Bailey, good evening. Flight Shaw, Althea, Joan Bailey. Marcia Thomas, Colleen James, Carlene Richards, the Easy Jerk. Well, good evening. Let me see who is on the tick. Gil and Brian, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Now, Parliament on the probe. Let's see how we get through this article. Let me brighten this screen a bit so I can see. I need to go through these two articles because I think they are important that we are aware of what is happening around us. All in Scott, good evening. Parliament Spectrum Management face scrutiny from Auditor General. The House of Parliament and Spectrum Management Authority, SMA, are currently under intense scrutiny as the Auditor General conduct two special audits of the legislative branch of government and the public body, which is an agency of the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Energy and Mining, respectively. That is the Spectrum Management Authority they're referring to there. In accordance with Section 25 of the Financial Administration and Audit FFA Act, the Pamela Monroe Auditor General, why did you write it like that? The Pamela Monroe Auditor General conducted a preliminary assessment of the House of Parliament in January 2025 to gain an understanding of its operation and to make an informed evaluation as to whether an audit was warranted. Lorraine, good evening. Good evening. Right. The Auditor General has subsequently approved a special audit to ascertain whether there has been compliance with the provision of the FFA Act or any other legislation relating to the administration of public money and government property. At the same time, the Auditor General has also placed the spotlight on the long-awaited construction of a new Parliament building. The construction of a new Parliament building was expected to commence in early 2022. However, as of May 2024, the project was still in procurement phase. In his contribution to the 2021-2022 budget debate, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that the construction of a new Parliament building would begin early in 2022-2023 financial year. Hold on there, let me touch. Murder. Oh. Hold on. At the same time, the announcement, at the time of the announcement, the Prime Minister had also reported that the design and draft of the new Parliament building was completed. In addition, he told the country that building approval had been granted by the requisite government agencies. In relation to the Spectrum Management Authority, the Auditor General also carried out a preliminary assessment of the entity in January this year to, among other things, make an evaluation of whether an audit should be done. The Auditor General has since approved a special audit of the SMA to determine whether the agency has been in compliance with the provision of the FFA Act or any other enactment relating to the administration of public funds and government property. The Spectrum Management Authority is the national regulator for radio frequency. Cliff Hughes, you hear that? Lord God, Cliff Hughes. And now we're going to hear your business because Pamela Monroe run through them. The Spectrum Management Authority is the national regulator for the radio frequency spectrum under the Act, and authorities is responsible for monitoring the inspection of Jamaica radio spectrum network, which is essential for various communication and technology application. The statutory obligation and operational principle of the authority are in accordance with and fulfill Jamaica's international commitment to the World Trade Organization telecommunications agreement and the government of Jamaica policy objective regarding liberalization of the telecommunications sector. Audits of both houses of parliament and the Spectrum Management Authority are scheduled to be public for publication rather in the third quarter of this financial year. Will that mean we won't get a publication before election? Is that so? The third quarter of the financial year. So we won't get a publication before election, isn't it? So that's it for that article. Something else I need us to pay attention to is the WHO, because our countries have signed up to their new pandemic rules. So let's see what is said about it. But I think that is something that we need to look more in depth in, because a lot of rules will be coming our way under this new, a lot of some new global rules will be coming our way under the disguise of this recent document that they've all agreed to. World Health Organization members adopt pandemic agreement born out of the disjointed global COVID response. Geneva AP. The World Health Organization member countries on Tuesday approved an agreement to better prevent, prepared for and respond to future pandemic in the wake of the devastation wrought by the coronavirus. Substantial applause echoed in Geneva Hall housing the WHO annual assembly as the measures debate the devices over 3 years passed without opposition. So every country went along with it, basically. The treaty guarantees that countries which share virus samples will receive tests, medicines, and vaccines. Up to 20% of such product would be given to World Health Organization to ensure poorer countries have some access to them when the next pandemic hits. Not if, you know when. World Health Organization Director General, whatsoever name we can call it, has touted the agreement as historic and a sign of multilateralism at a time when many countries are putting national interests ahead of shared values and cooperation. Dr. Something Another, chair of the health committee, said that this paved the way for Tuesday adoption, said that COVID-19 pandemic inflict huge costs on lives, livelihoods, and economy. We as sovereign states have resolved to a joint hand as one world together, we always talk about the 2030 agenda and the one world government. This document from the World Health Organization pushed us a little closer to the one world government under health disguise. Really, where was I? We as sovereign states have resolved to join in hands as one world together so we can protect our children, elderly, frontline health workers, as all of them from the next pandemic. He added, it is our duty and responsibility to humanity. The treaty effectiveness will face doubt because the United States, which poured billions into speedy work by pharmaceutical companies to develop COVID-19 vaccine, is sitting out. And I tell you this all the time. None of these major treaties, none of these major global treaties, even though most of them been pushed by the United States, they don't sign up to any one of them because they don't want to be held responsible for anything. The US don't. Most of these treaties, the US are not a signature to them. And because countries face no penalty if they ignore it, a common issue in international law. So the US know they can't get away with. The US traditionally the top donor in the United Nations Health Agency, was not part of the final stage of the agreement process after the Trump administration announced a US pullout of the WHO and the funding to the agency in January. So, apart from Trump pulling out of the WHO, which I don't agree with because the WHO is quite a criminal organization, if you want to call it that. But our government are signing us up to a lot of things that we are not fully aware of because not all of us really read these articles, and sometimes these things just get stuck away in article. But I'm sure going to the World Health Organization website, there will be a lot more information there because it's quite a big document which carry all heap of new rules that we are going to experience in it. So this is why I say we as a people need to become more not just interested, because we are interested in politics, but more tribal, but more concerned about what is happening in our politics, because we saw when the pandemic hit how how a lot of rules became global. This is one of the purpose for this document. Put all those rules together in one document so when another pandemic hits, they have the rules ready to apply. And your government is signing you up, but they're not telling you that one, they are signing you up. Two, if there are consequences, what are the consequences? But definitely, there are a lot of control mechanism in this new government galangin. Something else I want to look at with Andrew Holness. I briefly talked about it last night, but the Prime Minister's weekly statistic and one-a-day killing. Weekly statistic from the government that crime is going down, but one-a-day people are being killed that we are being told are gunmen. I'm not disputing that they are gunmen, but there's nothing in our law that says gunmen must not get their day in court. Is it that the only training our police have is to deploy violence and aggression? Don't you want to crack some of these groups by taking some of these persons and interrogate them? Because yes, Prime Minister, you may clean up the murder of them and the crime rate will go down, but it's not a solution, is it? And did you see the school brawl video I sent you happen today? No, I didn't even check. Me see. I don't know brawl will create no charm or beat and teach. Hold on there. Hang on there. Hang on there. Hold on, let me see. Let's do this quickly.
Now, care workers will no longer be recruited from abroad under new plans to significantly bring down net migration. Care England.
Yes, Tom and his bullshit. Let me bring this forward because a lot of care workers from Jamaica and the Caribbean, I know a lot of people who are on this program, but when they want when they lost control of immigration, you see, they target us, who they have to turn around and depend on. They have to turn around and depend on us, migrants, the migrant community, the same community that they target when their government is not serving them well. Hold on, I need to await them. What is wrong with this? Bear with me, my peeps. I need to get that into studio because that's information that is relevant. There's a lot of Jamaicans I know on this care program. My thing is playing up. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Hold on, let me look upon this cool bro. Let's see. Hang on. My thing is, why is it not coming in the studio? Hold on there. Bear with me, my peeps. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Hang on.
Now, care workers will no longer be recruited from abroad under new plans to significantly bring down net migration. Care England, a charity which represents independent care services, called the plans a crushing blow to an already fragile sector. Bringing down migration numbers has long been a thorn in the side of successive governments and one of the key factors behind reform success in the local elections earlier this month. Well, let's take a closer look then at what the government wants to solve. This chart shows the net migration numbers for the UK over the last 7 years. That's the difference between the number of people leaving the country and the number coming in. Migration rose steeply and reached its peak in the year to June 2023, with net migration population at more than 900,000 people. It's come down from that in the most recent year at 728,000 in the 12 months to June 2024. To help bring the numbers down, ministers are rolling out some big changes. In future, you'll need a degree-level qualification to have access to skilled worker visas. Employers will be told they must train UK workers rather than turning to people from abroad to fill job vacancies. Tougher requirements for English language skills are being considered, and care homes will no longer be able to hire overseas staff in a crackdown on lower-skilled foreign workers. Sky's People and Politics correspondent Nick Martin has this report.
On its own, number 9.
Elena Christa from Romania has been a carer in the UK for the last 9 years. But under government plans, foreign carers like her would be prevented from coming to work here.
I would probably feel a bit sad, to be fair. I like working in the care sector because I interact with people. I learned and hear all kind of life stories. I learn how basically to look after the elderly.
Ali George runs this 28-bed care home in Cardiff. He relies on carers like Eleanor to help provide the support his residents need. And he says he struggles to find British workers to do the job.
Whilst social care is one of the most diverse sectors in Britain, it's become reliant now on overseas workers coming in to fill these gaps, with more people leaving the sector than they are coming in. And it's still extraordinarily hard to recruit new people, younger people into care. I think social care is being absolutely left behind by the people who are actually in charge of running it.
The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, says the government is introducing sweeping changes to immigration policy and claim these new plans to tackle immigration will see 50,000 fewer visas issued this year alone.
We are very clear we need to bring net migration substantially down. It is currently falling, but we need to go much further. That's what the plan is about. It's about restoring control and order. It's about preventing this chaotic system where we had overseas recruitment soar while training in the UK was cut.
Immigration has been a headache for successive governments who've battled in vain to reduce net migration, which quadrupled under the Conservatives.
The last government.
My problem with this very issue is, what am I walk on trouble people for? British people don't work. British people do not work. A foreigner's work in this country. You're never going to have a well-staffed social care services without foreign workers. So I don't know what is their problem. But back to Dr. Dawes and Donovan Williams. Donovan Williams is saying Dr. Dawes is making baseless allegation, basically, and he's welcoming the probe that Dr. Dawes is asking for, because they will be vindicated. But what I want to say to this government, if it's about fiscal prudency, shouldn't you be getting more out of what you have rather than less? Because in this case, getting 1 out of 31 million, when we are being told that you could get about 5 out of that. Or Donovan Williams owned the medical supply company. So that's why him come out stinging. Becoming a Dr. Tufton wouldn't come out, come battle about that. But it's actually him. But fiscal prudence wouldn't mean, say, if you have 30 million to spend, you would try get as much as possible out of the 31 out of the 31 million. Hold on there. You would have got as much as possible out of it, but nothing, just one total answer. And then when the questions are being asked, we're always been told that. Hold on.
Or concert as a result of these missions. We have seen one such mission cancelled because of the dilapidated state of the operating theatres at the Bustamante Hospital, where the AC units were non-functional. This morning, the father of Alexandriana Jones asked me to keep her story alive, where this young girl died after undergoing complex surgery at the Bustamante Hospital. The team...
When I hear Dr. Da as well?
They did all they could do with limited resources they had, but they had no operating microscope to assist them with such a complex surgery. And when complications developed, Alexandriana had to be put on an ambulance and sent to the Kingston Public Hospital, losing valuable hours to get a CAT scan done to see what was the next course of action that was necessary to save her life. This because there's no CAT scan at the leading children's hospital in the Caribbean. That's been the case for many years, known by those who could have made a difference. We have heard stories about the ENT teams not having adequate equipment, and thus surgeries are being postponed. We have heard stories about mothers, fathers having to sleep in chairs because the overnight facility that was supposed to be built with the Shaggy Foundation funds has not been completed. We hear about the long waiting times of waiting in chairs in the emergency department and of overcrowded clinics. And this is why we have continued our advocacy for improvement in healthcare. We are going to be focusing specifically on one piece of evidence that we have found corroborates what we firmly believe to be a web of corruption within the Ministry of Health. And in this instance, it concerns a neurosurgical drill. Attention was first brought by Senator Lambert Brown in January, where he questioned the expenditure of $31 million, $500,000 on a single neurosurgical drill. The Southeast Regional Health Authority denied that the price was inflated and that this was a reasonable price for a quality drill, the first of its kind in Jamaica and possibly the only type in the Caribbean. I reiterated that call for that the justification of that expenditure because all research pointed that this drill should have been procured or could have been procured at a much lower price. Following a meeting with the SARA chairman, I had to call for his resignation based on his stubborn defense of what was a flawed procurement process. I saw the procurement documents. I saw where the process was hijacked, where an internal source determined that a fair price for that drill was 32 million Jamaican dollars. So purchasing it for 31,500,000 was a discount to taxpayers. The minister, returning from his overseas trip, continued a strident defense, putting out several videos that are still available to be viewed online, in some instances ridiculing and mocking me and my accusations. But we do have evidence that this drill is only the tip of the iceberg of corruption within the Ministry of Health. In November last year, just before the drill was purchased by SARA for the Bustamante Hospital for Children for $31,500,000, two drills of the same type EM200, same manufacturer, same specifications, same model numbers, were brought in by one company, the company that won the bid to supply that $31 million drill. On the customs declaration forms, accompanied by an invoice from the manufacturer, we see that it was not a new drill. They were refurbished drills with a purchase price of $1,600 US. That was the declared value, and they paid $90,000 in customs fees, bringing the grand total landed the same drill, model number, specifications, landed in Jamaica, cost nowhere close to $31 million, but 250,000 Jamaican dollars. We have the serial numbers for both drills. The question today, we have two questions. The company that brought in these drills won the bid to supply the exact same drills to Sarah. It cost the company $250,000 to have that drill in Jamaica. Is the $31 million drill at the Bustamante Hospital for Children one of these drills that were imported in November last year? Yes or no? If it is a case where the drill that was purchased from the same company just after these two drills were imported is a different drill, what was the justification for paying $31 million for a drill that could have been bought and landed in Jamaica for less than 300,000 Jamaican dollars? Is that a fair price? Understanding that the same company that won the bid could have brought in a drill for 1,000 times less. This is not about politics. This is about the blatant misuse of taxpayer dollars. The question is further compounded. What could have motivated someone to spend $31 million on a drill when they could have bought 100 of those same drills? When they could have bought a CT scan so babies and children would not lose valuable time and increase their chances of complications and dying if they did a CT scan at Bustamante Hospital rather than going to Kingston Public Hospital to have a scan done. Why spend $31 million on a $300,000 drill when you could have purchased several ventilators so less babies would have been dying? $31 million versus fixing and maintaining your operating theaters so life-saving surgeries can go on uninterrupted, so that missions coming to Jamaica to volunteer their services can help those children suffering in pain. Why? And that is where I'm going to leave the questions. Why do it? I'm not going to call for anyone's resignation today. Let the chips fall where they may. There is obvious corruption, blatant mismanagement taking place in the Ministry of Health. I have one more thing to add. The company, and this is further evidence of what looks bad. The company in question is owned by JLP Member of Parliament Donovan Williams, the MP for Central Kingston, a man whose name may be familiar not just as MP, but as a company secretary linked to Estate Bridge, a company in turn linked to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, that was under investigation by the Integrity Commission.
Thanks, Kathy.
Is Mr. Williams able to state, to answer these questions? Is Mr. Williams able to say his hands are clean? If that is the case, then he should present himself. There should be a release answering these questions. And as I said, the chips must fall where they may. But we do know that there is a web of corruption, and it is paid for in the suffering and death of children and babies. If this is not evil, I do not know what is. I don't know who in the government, from the top down, has a moral authority to call out and weed out those who are involved in this blatant theft and rape of an industry, of a system so vital to us as a health sector. We're asking Jamaicans to be outraged. We're asking you not to let this die, because if you do, the blood of innocence will be on all our hands. I have two files, two dossiers, one addressed to the Auditor General, Mrs. Pamela Monroe Ellis, with the findings of our investigation. The other is addressed to Mrs. Justice Reed, retired Justice Carol Lawrence Beswick, the chairman of the Integrity Commission.
Chairwoman.
We're asking for a fulsome investigation into the procurement process of this neurosurgical drill, and that we see a definitive message being sent and justice being served for all those children, babies, and their parents who have suffered because they have lacked equipment and services, while money has been sucked out of the Ministry of Health, out of Bustamante Hospital, out of Sarah, by what I had referred to before as a rapacious form of capitalism enabled by corruption. Thank you. Luther, continue.
Thank you, Dr. Dawes, for that very informative presentation. We are now opening the floor for questions. If you're in the room and you have a question, please state your name, the media house you
Everywhere we turn on the Andrew Holness government, Makajoko, you know. Me don't know how to Andrew and Dr. Tufton Tifa, because we always pay attention to Andrew, but Dr. Tufton Tifa, you know. We don't remember how Tufton go on in a COVID, Dr. Tufton Tifa, you know. Remember how Dr. Tufton they are walking a COVID and issue out contract when I set the word about contract. Dr. Tufton give out some holy contract when they pan paper, you know, and pay the country money for everywhere we turn. Makajokwe.
present and proceed with your question. If you're online and you have a question, you can write it. We'll read it for you, or you can indicate by raising your hand. We'll open the mic and you can proceed. Your name, the media house, and your question. Thank you. Kelisha Williams, Television Jamaica. Dr. Dawes, can you say, since the research, the opposition completed the research, whether or not you've sought any clarity from the government, or is it the first time? And you mentioned initially the two drills. I know you're also seeking clarity as well in terms of whether or not, can you say it is a similar to the one that was used, that was purchased for $31 million, or you're also seeking, I want you to be clear on that, or you want clarity?
We're very clear that the two drills were EM200 drills. It's the same type of drill, same manufacturer, same modern number. It is the same drill. And if they do not answer the question and say it is a different drill from the two that were imported just before they purchased the $31 million drill, then we have to ask why buy another drill of the same type. And when this drill came in, how did this drill I dare say, mysterious drill come into Jamaica if there's no record of it at customs?
Okay, thank you.
This a bangarang, you know.
There's a question here for you online, Dr. Dawes. This person is asking, Dr. Dawes, is the opposition making much to do about nothing over a simple drill?
If much to do about nothing is one example of a $300,000 item being bought by the Ministry of Health for $31 million, then by that definition, we should never complain about corruption.
There's another question. Dr. Dawes, what proof do you have that Donovan Williams is in fact affiliated with the company in question?
Go a company
A quick search
office.
at the company's office will show that the
Jesus
company in
Christ,
question
woman, you're a journalist.
has 50,000 issued shares, 50,000 unissued. 40,000 of those shares are held by MP Donovan Williams.
Okay, there's another question here. You said that the unit was refurbished. Can refurbished units have warranties?
That is another question that needs to be answered, but we need to know if it is the same drill, because if you have a refurbished drill with a $4 million service contract, then that itself warrants further investigation. But we first need Sarah to confirm or deny that the $31 million drill purchased was one of the two imported by the company that won the winning bid and landed those two drills in Jamaica at a cost of $250,000 each.
Dr. Dawes, Andre Stevens, is there any history of the two imported drills being currently used in the public healthcare system?
We are waiting on confirmation whether or not the purchased $31 million drill is in fact one of those two imported refurbished drills. We're not. That is the clarity which we are seeking today. Did they pay $31 million for a $250,000 drill?
Sashana Small, Jamaica Gleaner is asking, can you share the name of the company that brought the drills into the island?
Company's Medical Technologies Limited.
Thank you, Dr. Dawes. That ends our press conference for this morning. Continue to follow the PNP on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at JamaicaPNP.com. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Jamaica, a serious fraud. This uncover, you know. This is fraud, you know. Because if Donovan Company can get it so cheap, all the government I tell we say value $31 million. Which part them get for them? A big galang in this, you know. It may sound little job, but a big galang in this, yeah. Lord God, if you see with the law enforcement and investigators in our country, this is a major heist. This is like the Great Train robbery. This is like the Great Train robbery. Because that $31 million there, you know, a hope of people would get a cut out of it, you know. I hope people get shut mouth cut down. Because Dr. Dawes said the $31 million one no galang in another custom ferry. And I wonder if China carrying a country for them pass the sideway wharf. I don't know. But Dr. Dawes said no record of it, another wharf, another custom. When is Andrew Holness going to call the election and hurry up and go on? Because there's a risk to Mark Golding's government the way how Andrew Holness are going, you know, by the time Mark Golden come in, no money now go there to do anything, you know. There will be no money, and we are going to be stuck by going right back to the IMF and the World Bank, go borrow money from them, for them tell we what to do. Dr. Tufton has always been reading the Ministry of Health budget. As always, Dr. Tufton has not shown any respect for the life of our children and babies. Remember when the bacteria was in hospital killing babies, Dr. Tufton covered it up and act like him not hear about it. Dr. Tufton wastes millions. Dr. Tufton stole millions during COVID. Dr. Tufton stole from the country. Now, Dr. Tufton is one of who is poised to be the next leader of the Jamaica Labour Party after the collapse of Andrew Holness, which is in short order. I'm wondering, Jamaica Labour Party, but then again, I go ask you, fuck real now. Come I go ask you, if we know don't put another thief at the helm of the party. But then it's me asking bullshit because all I know a thief. All of them in the labor right are thief. So you really don't have a clean hands in the Jamaica Labour Party to choose from. Me don't know how one party get into such a detriment when nothing that they clean for pick up. Everything you pick up in the Jamaica Labour Party, you have to knock off and dust off. Everything you have to knock off and dust off. Nothing of the way you can pick up and use. But this Dr. Tufton, this thief in Dr. Tufton, this picking the nation's pocket continuously, Dr. Tufton is poised to be the next leader of the Jamaica Labour Party. Do you think a Dr. Tufton at the head of the Jamaica Labour Party, possibly because you don't know what possibility are, possibly becoming Prime Minister for the country in 2030, can you imagine where we would have ended up back? End up back in an Andrew Holness 2.0? Is that where you want to take us, Jamaica Labour Party? No, we can check and we can check which medical equipment I got so dear. And the 31 million, is it Jamaican dollars or US dollar? But a whole heap of people get share and part out of it. And why is it all of these MPs, they're all getting government contract? Then make sure them whisper to one another and say, we're going to need a service here. Make sure you can provide it. All of the country's money, is going around in one circle. All of the country's money is going around in a circle of friends. That's why we're not benefiting anything or going anywhere, because the country money, everything go in a circle of friends. The same MP them where we pay 300%. They're getting all the government contracts. They're getting all the kickbacks. and the top-notch salary. So everything is ending up in their coffers, really. I mean, the amount of money mismanagement, misappropriation, and blatant theft under this Andrew Holness regime, it's too much for the country now. If all these money that Andrew Holness and in gang them continue to steal was invested in the country, maybe Andrew Holness, we would have seen the benefit of the good economic management we are talking about. But if there's any good to the economy, Prime Minister, you thief off the whole of it. If there's any improvement in our economy, you thief off the little improvement. So we now go get to see the improvement, because by the time you did forget to we, you thief it off. I don't know what is going to happen to our country, because everything is just robbing, stealing, and destroying. Look at our education. Look at our health care. It has always been a problem, but it become dire under Andrew Holness. Our education and our health care has become dire under this Prime Minister. This Prime Minister also, just a few months ago, declared our roadways a national disaster. That is failure of a government that him same one after 8-9 years turn around and have to declare his role and responsibility as a national disaster. Because a part of being elected as a prime minister, the role and responsibility of maintaining, developing, and upkeeping our roads, prime minister, is a part of your job description, roles and responsibilities. And you, in turn, after 9 years, you have to turn around and declare your role and responsibility as a national disaster. I don't think people understand how much of a failure that Andrew Holness is. Maybe because some people may be captured by the loud noise, which is all that you really have, Prime Minister. A load of noise. You can hear you from around the corner. Many people are being fooled by the loud noise you make. But you're a great failure, Prime Minister. A massive one. And it is why you make so much noise as well, because you're trying to convince us that you're not a failure, when you know that we know that you are a failure. You have failed on every level and at everything you do, Prime Minister. Even thieving failure, because you can't thief safely anymore. Every thief you get pop out in a crowd. I don't see a future for the Jamaica Labour Party if we not continue so thief and wicked and lie. Because the disgrace won't have no, it only I go get worse after the beating where Andrew Holness I go get at the general election. The war between UNO I go get worse. The division is going to deepen, because so much people is going to go for the little steel power and the little leftover steel power where Andrew left going. If he goes quietly, because say he's insecure and he's power hungry. So He may want to stay on and convince you all that he will win back in 2030, not knowing say at the salary he must stay on for to do nothing and get the open millions. But the division is going to be off scale because everybody who have vowed for power is going to have their own little clique, both from MP to delegates to workers and so on. So the party is going to go into many different splinters because you're going to have ambitious people going for the leadership of the party. Is there anyone there that's really qualified? The answer is no, because we know all of them now. I mean, you could choose George Wright and it would make a blind difference. It literally wouldn't. Maybe he would use the stool more often, more than as much as Andrew uses his mouth. But them are labor rights. Them use what they have. Choose wisely, Jamaica. Think wisely. Check my messages. Choose wisely and think wisely because your government is destroying everything about your country. Hold on there. Calling for a full transparency in the independent investigation into the recent report comparing the Nutter Bay Coastal Protection Project. Lord Jesus, I wonder if I can read this one, yeah. PNP caretaker call for Auditor General probe into 244 million Nutter Bay Coastal Project. Christopher Brown is calling for a full transparency and independent investigation into the recent reported completion of the Nutter Bay Coastal Project. According to the People's National Party, the project reportedly finalized at significant public costs has been causing disquiet amongst residents upon learning of the sum reportedly expanded towards the overall project execution. While every effort to the project to protect the people of Nutter Bay from the escalating impact of climate change is welcome, we must ensure that such interventions are carried out with integrity, efficiency, and full accountability, Brown said. The people of Southeast St. Mary deserve to know how both their tax dollars as well as donor funds are being spent and whether they are truly getting the protection and infrastructure, and Vaz would say instructor, that was promised and needed. According to the PNP, the project was reportedly completed at the cost of some 244 million Jamaican dollars, yet constituents are expressing confusion about the scope and value of the actual work done. The opposition said in light of the significant funding allocated and expanded, it is imperative that the government through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Andrews Basket, and other responsible agencies provide a full public report detailing the total cost of Anata Bay Coastal Protection Project, the procurement process used to select the contractors and services provided, independent verification of the work completed, community consultation and engagement throughout the process. Brown added, we cannot allow critical climate resilience project to become vehicle for political showmanship and cronyism, financial malfeasance, and unmonitored expenditure. The stakes are too high. Lives, livelihood, and the long-term sustainability of our community depends on proper governance. Brown is urging the Office of the Auditor General to immediately initiate a probe into the project execution and financing. He also called on the Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio in the economic growth and job creation to address the public directly and transparently on the matter. Transparency is not optional. It is the foundation of trust, Brown said. The people of Anata Bay and all Jamaicans deserve no less. Everywhere we turn, Maka, Jokwe. And that's where we're going to leave it tonight. Everywhere we turn, Maka, Jokwe. What a way when the probe, Parliament is on the probe as well, and the Spectrum Management Authority is under probe as well, which is in Daryl Vaz's remit. I wonder what we will find out. I wonder what we will find out when the probes that are going on for Parliament at the moment comes back. Thank you very much. I know that one don't like the educational information or so, but that may have to give tonight. So that may have to give. So thank you very much for being here tonight. Join us back tomorrow morning for your At a Glance program. Thank you, and good night from the Global Television Group.
Oh, thy peace, the God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it break a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rub and cheat, and not press the poor. Make up what I seen to. Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. progressive move. Wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man show and stone and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show and stone and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead can sell out Rasta. I sell out, I sell out Babylon. Yes, stop on the Friday. You might throw a stone and then bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing. You might throw a stone and then bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one, big him and show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what's a black big him and show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rastaman show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.